Hey guys, so let's say you want to get some good headphones for your music or film production. Should you get open back or closed back headphones? So I've actually had a couple of people ask me about this online recently. Plus, I know a lot of people are separated from the studio and they're stuck exclusively working from home right now. So I thought that this would be a perfect topic for a video. So let's talk about the difference between open and closed back headphones, including what each type is good for and when you might want to use each. Now, sometimes people ask me which headphones are best for mixing, and my response is always that it depends on your acoustic preferences and it depends on what genres you're mixing and your ears, because everyone does hear things slightly differently. So I can recommend good headphones that we use in studios all the time, and most people would actually be fine with that. But if you're really getting into it, then you might find that you'll start getting a sense of what you prefer, and you'll probably find that your preference for headphones will actually vary from other people's preferences ever so slightly. So, don't be hard on yourself. It will vary with user preference, and that's okay. So, with that said, let's talk about open back versus closed back headphones. So, we actually tend to see closed back headphones more often. So, an example of closed back headphones are actually these Sony headphones that I have here. And we see these in studios and audio schools all the time. And they're closed back because they have a solid piece of plastic here behind where the speaker cones are. So, the back of the headphones are closed off, right? So, that solid material behind the speaker cone is what makes them closed back headphones. So open back headphones, on the other hand, are headphones without solid material behind the speaker cones. So they usually have something that looks like a speaker grill behind that cone. So I'll put a photo up here on the screen somewhere for you guys to see what that looks like. I currently don't actually have this type of headphone in my studio to show you guys in person for reasons that we'll talk about in a bit. Anyway, this grill design provides more open airspace behind the speaker cone. So sound can escape out of the back as well as out of the front of the headphones with open back headphones. And when we talk about the speaker cone moving back and forth to create sound, we also have to think about those compressions and rarefactions in the air that it's creating, right? So I'll link to an earlier video of mine where we actually talk about that in a bit more detail at the top of the screen here. But basically, you should know that when we're talking about these two types of headphones, with open back headphones, my understanding at least is that there's more open space for those small compressions and rarefactions in the air that are caused by the speaker cone moving back and forth in the headphones to dissipate, right? So it can dissipate at the back of the headphones. So they're less likely to actually interfere with those compressions and rarefactions that are actually wanted, the ones that are coming out of the front of the speaker cones, right? So out this side. So that seems like a good thing, but one thing to keep in mind is that this means that open back headphones emit some noise on the outside, so they don't keep secret whatever you're listening to, right? So people around you will definitely hear more of what you're listening to if you're using open back headphones. So when someone asks me if they should get open back or closed back headphones, one of my first questions is always, where are you planning on using them? And in what context? So for example, are you going to be using them for tracking at all? Or will you be using them in any other context where you would not want them to be emitting a bunch of noise out of the backs of the headphones? And that's basically because I would pick closed back headphones if you want something that will be good for like a wider range of applications. So, meaning that you can use them in public and in slightly noisier environments, and you could use them for tracking if you ever want to do that. Otherwise, if you're very sure that you'll only be using them at home or basically in a quiet, controlled environment to do primarily mixing, then I might go with the open back headphones instead. And I actually recommended the DT770s and some other closed back headphones on my Amazon shop, which I'll put a link to down below. But I recommended those on that website because they're closed back headphones. So they're going to work for a wider range of uses and purposes. And I've had questions before about which type I use, and I definitely use closed back headphones more, but that's because I'm working in studios where there are tuned rooms and nice studio monitors, and they always have closed back headphones in studios. And that's because when people use headphones in studios, it's often for tracking purposes and not as often for mixing. So when we are mixing, we're usually using those nice studio monitors in those acoustically tuned rooms. rooms, right? So which type of headphones I use, closed back versus open back, is very much a function of where and how I work, and it might not be relevant to some of you guys watching. So open back headphones are often able to have better sound reproduction, but they have the drawback of creating a lot of noise in your space, right? And they don't isolate you from the acoustic environment that you're in as well. So the question is, when you're thinking about where and how you might be using them, is that going to be an issue for you? And you know, for any of you guys watching, I don't know your studio setup or your workflow. So ultimately, the decision is up to you guys. I cannot make that decision for you. And honestly, anyone online that's pretending that they can without talking to you in person about your setup and your workflow, they're probably lying to you or they're not thinking very hard about it. But those are the basics of open back versus closed back headphones and what they are and what I would consider before deciding between the two. So I hope that defining these two main types of headphones and then outlining the thought process behind some considerations to make before deciding between the two helps some of you guys. And you know, whichever you guys choose, I hope they work out well for you, and happy mixing or tracking or sound designing or whatever you're using them for. So yeah, that's it. I'll have some links in the description, so check that out. And also let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, please check out my other videos or do all those things that people on YouTube love. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you want to support my channel more directly, I do have a Patreon. So it's patreon.com/CatoNoise. And patrons get access to additional content. And that's about it. I come out with new videos every Wednesday, and thank you for watching. Okay. So we tend. All right, let's do a quick what I eat in a day video. There.